We've been seeing the challenging conversations about race play out since the death of George Floyd.
Bridging that racial divide is not always easy. It can come with some apprehension. So we wanted to bring back a recent Zoom conversation that I had with our relationship gurus, Dr. Kirsten and Dr. Shonda Craft, to discuss this all-important issue. Thank you both so much for joining us. We know that forging relationships across race is difficult, but it is crucial to our society. We point to a New Yorker cartoon, a recent one. It kind of illustrates that point. It's a phone here buzzing as one woman says to another, "Just ignore it. My white friends keep checking in on me because they think racism is new." Shonda, I am just going to go out on a limb here and assume that's kind of what's happening in your world right now.
Absolutely. Kirsten sent me that cartoon and I immediately emailed back to her with a lot of like crying smiley face emojis.
Yeah.
And I've been commenting to colleagues, like, I'm just trying to be patient with all of my white friends and white colleagues who are very well intentioned. But I have also kind of woke up to racism, like it's something new. And so I think trying to bridge those conversations of that reach out and that care and concern, but also kind of tempering that with, well, where were you a month ago or a year ago, when this was still happening.
Right. And I for sure, I appreciate your patience, absolutely. I know that has to be hard. But I hear this, though, from a lot of my white people, and myself included, is they're sort of afraid of what to say right now, of saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They want to engage in conversation, but don't know quite how to do it. What advice do you have?
Well, I'm going to jump on that one because one of the things that happens, I think, is that we look to our Black friends like, what should we do? How should we do it? What should we say? Do you know, which basically is saying to them, can you please do this emotional labor for us? Right? So one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I've been reading a lot about it, and I'm lucky in that Shonda and I have known each other for like 11 years, I think, and she started out as my professor. So she was schooling me from the beginning, is what I would like to say. Yeah. But basically, one of the things is I think white people need to talk to other white people about this. This is really important. And I've seen different, and Shonda, you can speak to this too, but I've seen, like there was an op-ed in the Times about a Black author who said, stop sending me heart emojis, stop checking up on me. But then I've heard from other friends when I do, check in with them that they're happy that I do. So again, it's not monolithic. It's like not all Black people are going to feel the same way. Not all white people are going to feel the same about what you do. And this is where the relationship piece comes in so strongly, because the more you know somebody, the deeper your relationship is with somebody, the more you'll be able to say, I don't know what to say, or I'm just going to tell you that I'm so, feeling so terrible about all this, or,
Shonda, your take? What can we do?
Yeah, I agree with Kirsten. One of the things that I think is really important when you're forging any kind of a relationship, but certainly a cross-racial or cross-ethnic relationship, is to be aware of the fact that you have to listen to the entirety of that person's life. And not just focus in when there's a crisis, because you might not actually be seen as being helpful in the moment of a crisis. And it's really also very important to not minimize someone's pain or try to apologize for it. I think there's also that sense of white guilt that can enter into these types of conversations where people will say, I'm so sorry for what you're experiencing, or I'm so sorry for what white people have done. And while certainly that is a great step, it also can minimize the pain that the person is feeling in that moment. And it doesn't really take into consideration the full breadth and depth of what their experience may have been as a racial minority in our society.
So moving forward, what advice do you have for people? Part of it is these relationships, like the ones that you've had for years, part of it is building those relationships and being able to listen?
And being able to bring up the tough topics, and like if you think about what the body feels, having to go through that every day, that is a different experience for white people. And I think that is hitting a lot of white people much, much more clearly.
People really shouldn't be saying, look, I don't see color. And they say, well, it's colorblind to me. It's not helpful.
Right. I mean, this idea of color blindness is kind of the politically correct way of saying that we're all the same, right? And we are all human, but we don't all have the same human experience. And this has certainly been a learning experience for me as well as a Black person. I mean, I've said that in the past that I'm trying to raise my children to not see color, but that I don't mean that I'm trying to make other people invisible or their experience invisible. Is that I don't necessarily want them to have to grow up in a world where that has to be the lead thought in their mind. But when someone else is saying that I'm colorblind or I don't see color, that also means that you don't see all of me. And as Kirsten said, you know, walking around in my body is very different than walking around in her body. The places and spaces where I feel very welcome are not necessarily the same places and spaces where Kirsten will feel welcome. And so I think we have to be mindful of what is that experience, how much of it is shared, and how much of it is unique. And it's okay for us to have unique experiences. We can still connect and have unique experiences.
Great. Well, thank you both, Dr. Shonda Craft, Dr. Kirsten Lindsay. We really appreciate you having this conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, really powerful stuff.
Yeah,
Lots to chew on in there.
Lots to chew on, and two really incredible women. So we're lucky to have them as part of our show.